It's cool to have Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo in the same movie, and of course, these two have a chemistry that goes way back to 2012's The Avengers, and yeah, they're just Marvel friends, family members. That's what we kind of associate them with. But I'm getting a little worried that if this keeps up, we're just always just gonna picture Thor and Hulk just going on misadventures. Like, think about it, if Thor decided, you know what, I'm going to stay on Earth, I'm giving up the whole God of Thunder, and just gave up being Odin's son, and decided, you know what, I'm going to start stealing and taking away from insurance brokers and just robbing the rich for what they have. And then you have Mark Ruffalo, who, if Bruce Banner didn't become the Hulk and had gave up gamma radiation and decided, you know what, I'm going to be a police officer, that's kind of how this would have gone. Maybe. I don't know. But get your mind thinking of what are the possibilities. So let's make sure, hopefully, that they don't appear on another movie. Keep them away from each other because we're just going to now start picturing them from the MCU playing their characters just now in a different film. Fun idea, but one that I hope doesn't go too far.
Hello, James.
I need that.
Crime 101 is directed by Barry Layton with a screenplay by Barry Layton. The film stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, Monica Barbaro, Corey Hawkins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Nick Nolte, and Halle Berry. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, an elusive thief eyeing his final score encounters a disillusioned insurance broker at her own crossroads. As their paths intertwine, a relentless detective trails them, hoping to thwart the multi-million-dollar heist they're planning. This is, of course, based on a story by Don Winslow, which was released in 2020. As for films, I am a sucker for crime films, even though they can be formulaic or predictable. There is no escaping the genre that you find yourself loving. There's always a pattern, there's always something to be had with that, and there's nothing new or original when it comes to heist movies. If you've seen one, you've seen them all, but you can at least find yourself thinking to yourself, could this be at least fun enough to where you're not hopefully being dampened by the idea of enjoying what you're given. Still, from the trailers, I was interested with what this was showing, especially with the cast. And of course, we already had a crime movie come out last month in the form of The Rep, which had Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Great, solid crime film for Netflix. Yeah, with this movie, I was thinking, all right, you got an interesting cast. You got a lineup here that could fit well into the crime genre. I'm just thinking, could at the very least this be another entertaining crime heist movie? And by the end, I was mostly satisfied with it and thought this was a solid crime film as well. I'm at least happy to get two crime movies that at the very least were very solid on their own. But before addressing my few problems, my few issues, here are the positives that I have. The performances are effective. The entire cast keeps things interesting and intriguing, making for exciting effort. Everyone in this movie plays their part well, even if you could say they're stereotypes. They're at least entertaining ones at best. Chris Hemsworth, he's charming, he's likable, he really has that lean man stature to him that makes him very interesting to watch and really helps carry the film. You have, of course, Mark Ruffalo as a detective, which I feel like Mark Ruffalo recently is now sometimes either playing assholes or he's playing detectives. I feel like there's never like a character he can never play that is like 100% like nice to the point of like not being in law enforcement, but I feel like that's just kind of the road that he's going down. But hey, at least he's always entertaining in them. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I feel like those are the roles that he's kind of getting put into. But at the very least, he's really watchable in this movie. You also have Barry Keoghan, who the guy can be very interesting for some people. You either love him or hate him, depending on what role he's in. But at the very least, you know he's going to give as much of an effort as he possibly can. Monica Barbaro, I think, is also enjoyable in here, although I do have an issue with regards to the subplot that her and Chris Hemsworth have. Nick Nolte, I mean, he's hardly in the film, but he's at least fine for what he is given, and at the very least fits well with what his character is supposed to be. And Halle Berry, I mean, good lord, this woman's gorgeous, and she's also still an amazing actress. She really sells the role of an insurance broker, and one that I find very interesting and really compelling. I'm sorry. Every time I see her, I'm just thinking, no, there's no way she looks this damn good. Not only acting range, but just sex appeal. I mean, man, this woman is so beautiful. The direction is fluent. Director Bart Layton keeps the movie grounded by feeling small scale, allowing the film to stay within its boundaries. It doesn't try to go anything bigger. It doesn't try to be this whole, multi-billion-dollar movie where it's all this explosion, gunfire. No, it's simple, grounded approach to how a heist would be, especially if it's operated by like one man. So I think Liam was able to take whatever Don Winslow had in his book and was able to transfer it into it. I have not read the book, so I'm just taking for what I think the story is from the book to this. But Burt Layton was able to really adapt it well enough to where it's able to be effective at being smaller than your average crime movie would have you kind of thinking to yourself. And I think the way he handles this is very fluent. It is very effective on how it's approaching this sort of LA crime street fighting that I think fits well within the narrative of what this movie goes for. The action is intense. Every chase sequence heightens the tension when it happens, being familiar to Drive. You want a movie to compare this to, it is definitely similar to Drive in that it is about kind of a loner, somebody who is in the field of crime and just tries to scrounge up something for himself or make a better life, whatever the case may be. And yeah, most of it is made up of chases, but they are very effective on kind of keeping the film as exciting and as intense as it needs to be. The story was enjoyable. Watching this skilled jewel thief steal valuable items from high-end brokers made for a great time. It may not be original, but hey, it's a solid one at best. Again, you've seen one, you've seen them all, and this movie has a story that is very formulaic, but one that hits well. It's not something that feels like is so generic and so bland, because they could have done that. They could have made this as generic as it is, but it's done so damn well. Watching this guy that Chris Hemsworth plays try to rob a bunch of these rich people, in how they are really destroying people's lives and how they can just get away with it and not have to feel like they reap any sort of accountability. They just kind of get away with all of it. And to watch this guy that Chris Hemsworth plays, Mike, it's effective in how it tries to kind of position him, how it frames him similar to how Drive is, and also how the story intertwines with like other characters and how their stories then coalesce into this one singular story that you see in front of you. The cinematography is great. Cinematographer Eric Wilson captures a slick but darker tone that showcases LA in a gritty and beautiful way, giving a mood that fits perfectly to what a movie like this needs to be. When you're giving the chance of doing a crime film, you can just go for the most basic type of look to this. And sure enough, some people may see it that way. Me personally, I think there is a lot of character when it comes to LA, how characters move around, how they are able to go freely into places in a way where, sure, it may not seem believable, but hey, it works well for the movie. And I also love some of the camera angles in terms of the chases, especially sometimes when it follows Barry Keoghan on his bike and how the camera follows him from his helmet, or even in close proximity, especially in a scene with Chris Hemsworth and Barry Keoghan. I think that was really effective in the way in which it wants to give you the differences between their characters and how different they are as people. The music is captivating. Composer Blank Mass creates an electric and atmospheric score that brings a lively mood that works, giving more subtle tone than being really loud and abrasive, because usually a crime film can get very much stuck in its own ways and trying to be this really big, bombastic type of score that makes it feel like it's so charged up and energized. This feels more quiet, more calmer, and then it raises the tension when sequences do happen. And I think that's the best way to go with a crime film. And I think Blank Mass did a amazing job of kind of vibing with what this movie has to kind of give off. The production is stellar. A film of this caliber does well at showcasing the crew work, props, sets, etc. Nothing super big, just reasonable. For what I hear, this movie costs only $90 million, and I hope it does at least decently. I know it's not going to make its money back. I mean, that's just the day and age with box offices, but for what this movie sets out to be, it's well put together, it's well made. You could feel the effort in the crew work and able to like block off streets and allow the cars to go through, or having some of the props with some of the cars, and then sets feel right with what you would kind of expect for a movie like this. There's just stuff here that shows that dedication to making this feel like it's not a big movie, but it is one that is effective in the way it tries to kind of showcase what a crime movie can be without having to go billions upon billions of dollars into trying to make this super larger than life. The writing is sufficient. Writer Layton puts a script that gets the job done with having conversations carry the film. It may be typical because there's a couple of lines that do feel like is your stereotypical type of crime dialogue that you would hear, but enough for the actors to make it much better. I think that's what really works for the writing. Is it's enough to where it may not be the best, but at least the actors are able to kind of take that material and now elevate it even further, because that's what you need. Is if you can get at least decent enough writing to where it's not terrible, but it's able to be enough to where the actors can now take it and expand upon it, it makes the dialogue much better to where it really does have that soul, that purpose of what this film tries to convey in terms of what the characters are kind of seeing and how they are able to kind of respond to what this story kind of goes through. While entertaining, it does trip itself when it can affect the film, and that's to me the two biggest issues with this movie that really holds it back. Sure, it's not a perfect movie, but one that I think could have maybe fixed at least one of these. Here are now my negatives. The pacing runtime is bad. Scenes can drag on quite a bit. With a runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes, it definitely could have been trimmed down. I don't know if this could have been, but I feel like if we were to take this one in particular, I do think that this is a movie that, while it is impressive, I just don't think for a crime movie it needed to be 2 hours and 20 minutes. I think this could have worked if this was trimmed down to maybe 10, maybe 2 hours and 5 minutes. I think that would have worked out much better if they had not tried to like pad out scenes to make it feel as slow burner as it is. Because yes, it is very much conversational heavy, and while I am fine with that, I think there's a way to do that where you don't have to really like extend it to much longer scenes kind of being played out. The romance subplot is underwhelming. When given screen time, it's well done, but I do think it's not enough. It feels as if it didn't get more attention than it deserves, and it's the relationship that Chris Hemsworth, Monica Barbaro have in the movie, and I think they are really good together. I think they have good chemistry. They have really good back and forth banter with each other. I just think that for as much as I was enjoying it, I do think that this storyline just doesn't get enough attention compared to like the other aspects of this movie. Like, it's the one that affects Chris Hemsworth's character, but it almost feels like they cut out scenes, or they felt like they needed to trim down those scenes more so than like the heist, which I get it, I understand, but I do think that by doing that, those like tender moments that are enjoyable, I don't think it has the like feeling of you really love this relationship. You enjoy it, but I think it could have been much better if they had added maybe some scenes and take out like some of the like extended parts of this movie to where it could have probably fit that into this movie. Successfully at being entertaining, Crime 101 manages to have the substance to be solid. It could have been very generic, but Burt Layton was able to give it life. It does come with a padded length and lacked romance, but there's a good amount to hold viewers down. Just like with The Rip, I think this movie is able to give audiences what they want. Now, again, it's not very action packed in the sense of balls to the walls, like crazy gunfights and explosions, but what you do get is really good. It's very solid at what it provides you. I'm able to take that for what it is, and I'm just happy to see like crime movies nowadays be much better than being another generic throwaway film with the rip and now this. I can at least walk away feeling like I got my money's worth with both of them. I'm gonna give Crime 101 a 8 out of 10. It's a well made, well put together, great crime movie that really just understands itself and it's able to pull it off to where it may not be 100% successful, but it's good enough to where you'll have a good time with it. If you get a chance to see it in the theater, definitely worth a watch. I don't think you would be very disappointed by it. So that is it for February. I know it was a short month. I'm sorry, you guys, but I mean, that's all I have for you. But next month, hey, we'll get some more movies. So, yes, look forward to those reviews and other reviews coming soon.